We need to go to open session.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, we're good. We're back in open session.
Yeah.
This is the policy committee meeting of October 2nd. It's 6:34 p.m. We are going to continue with the public session items. There is no action as far as I'm aware of coming out of executive session. So moving on, we did take the May 30th committee meeting minutes off the agenda. So the next item is discussion on the public comment policy and public comment cards. Just going to rehash that we are going to bring forward draft edits of the public comment policy to the full board. But we do have an outstanding item of the public comment cards. And Ms. Cartledge, I was going to ask you, and perhaps Ms. Cushingberry, if you all could work based off of those draft edits to edit the public comment card as well. If there was any concerns with that from committee members or other board members, please do speak up.
None here.
Yes, ma'am, we're glad to do that.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Okay, I don't see any hands up. So then I will move on to item 3.3, which is discussion on policy codifications from board motions. We have had a handful of board motions that needed to be codified and placed. I don't see any attachments here in my diligent
There aren't any.
there aren't any.
We didn't attach them because I guess we have to discuss or figure out what the motions are and where committee members believe that they should go.
Okay. Do we have the list though of what they were?
No, ma'am, we don't have the list of the motions,
Okay.
so we can table those.
Yeah, we'll need to table that. There is and for other committee members, there's occasionally board motions that need to be codified and put into place into the policy manual, and that's what we were going to attempt to do today, but we will get that list together and do that at our next meeting. So I will move down to 3.4 then. Discussion on any prospective policy changes. I know that there's been discussion at other meetings that I'm trying to pull up. I believe it was actually on those May 30th, that draft. Robin, you sent me, nope, let me pull up my email. Apologies. There was an email with some items in it.
You're saying that committee members had some discussion of potential policy changes? Ms.
Yeah, I
Boatwright,
believe there was.
That's
Ms.
me,
Boatwright?
discussion of prospective policy changes.
Yes, ma'am. I believe there was some that were suggested or that we would begin diving into. And so I put it here as a placeholder to begin the discussion
Yes.
of areas that need attention.
I think that there are some things that we need to look at. We've talked about a little bit here and there, but I didn't know what that was. I would have to go back, and I think we have done enough tonight. But I do think that once this thing gets behind us, that there are a couple other things, and I mean, I know I've brought them up, and I'll go back and look. I just didn't have that handy.
Okay, yeah, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I definitely just wanted to try to open up the door to the conversation. I know it's been mentioned at board meetings. I don't want to lose sight of anything. And there's, while we don't want to make our policy super long, we do want to make sure we're addressing things that we have gaps on. So
yeah, and I think that there are, a couple of things I would like to bring, but I'm not prepared right this minute. I just thought this was all related to public comments. So
got it. Okay.
Discussion item.
Okay. And Mr. Dallas, just so that you know, if you have any prospective policy changes or areas of concern that we can discuss at our next meeting, please do feel free to bring those forward. That's what this topic was in regard to. I do have future topic items, the review of board policies for supplemental materials. It was tabled at our May 30th meeting, so that one probably will need to take priority at our next meeting. I also have down operating procedures and discussion of board committee roles, GC 5.
Yes.
I think that was one of the ones that Ms. Boatright had suggested, so I put that down as a future topic.
Awesome.
Okay, and either of you, if you do have, as Dr. Gwads did and was very helpful this evening as well, if either of you want to take a stab at editing any of those and, bringing those forward, we can certainly put them up and take a peek at them. We have our lovely committee helpers from the legal department to help us make sure that we are crossing T's and dotting I's. So what is a good future meeting date for everybody? Let's look at our calendars.
We have a work session on the 27th, so if we can meet again prior to that, so that you can get whatever recommendations out of policy, we can make sure that they're ready for the work session.
Okay. Can I propose, Robin, what does the 10th look like for us?
Operations is meeting at 5 o'clock, and there's rebranding at 9 o'clock on the 10th for board meeting of members.
Rebranding?
That's going to be placed on your calendar. That's out of board members. It's going to be a Zoom meeting at 9 o'clock for board members to join to have discussion about the rebranding. So that's going to happen on the 10th.
Okay. What about the 11th?
There's nothing on the 11th.
Okay, does the 11th work for everybody in the, let's see, in the morning, perhaps?
The 11th is a Wednesday. That's not too bad for me. In the
Okay.
morning.
Could you do a 9:30? Robin, can we do a 9:30?
10 would be preferable, but if we have to do 9:30, we could.
I can do 10. I just have a hard stop at 11:30 is my thing.
I'm fine with whatever. I'm fine with that. The later the better, but whatever we need to do.
Mr. Dallas?
Mr. Dallas.
I think I can make that. I think there's an 11 o'clock referendum presentation at POA that day, but maybe it's 11:30. So I'm going to say I can make that.
Okay, let's go for 9:30, just in the interest of if there is another item for the district at 11 or 11:30, and I have a hard stop at 11:30. I'd like to try to make sure we can get as much cranked out as possible. So let's go with 9:30, please, on the 11th.
9:30, 11th will work for me.
Wonderful.
I have it down.
Thank you all.
All
right.
And if you all can send your agenda items or
Those items that we just went over, I'd like to try to limit it to those unless there's something that comes up in the interim.
okay.
Okay.
Question for those motions, I'll send the list out that I have, but if there are other motions so that we can have a suggested area for them to be codified, so that way I can attach that into community.
That would be great. Yeah, if you can send whatever you've got, and I'll try to look back at my notes as well. And everybody else. Otherwise, it's 6:44. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you
Do
for
I have
running
a
a tricky meeting.
Thank you for a great meeting, Madam Chair.
Thank you all so much, and motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Good job.
Thank you. Y'all have a wonderful